Oh, is that for the emergency services thing or something like that?
No, this is something else. This
All
is something to do with.
Okay, are we starting?
Well, yeah, the mics are up. I just want to make
Mics
sure
are up.
y'all don't embarrass me.
Oh,
Here we go.
here we are, Extra Day Wednesday.
Look at that. Kevin Cunningham just said, "Look who's there." Dumplings. It's chicken and dumplings, I guess.
So it's like, I think we should be looking for time and a half today, Paul. What do you think? You know, overtime.
You-
It's like
all
an
right.
extra day.
So be it.
Time and a half times 0 is what?
0.
Oh, God. I got authorization from the king.
All right, yeah. Perfect. The king. Yeah, that's why I got Figment on my shoulder. You know, it's your imagination that we're here on Wednesday.
I got a freaking chicken. Check you too.
Oh boy. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today, Paul?
I don't know. You went to a meeting last night.
Board of
Well,
Selectmen. Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about town stuff. He wants to talk about, what do you want to talk about, Mike?
Well, no, I think it's very, very important. What I wanted to talk about and mention, and that is today. Well, this week. This week is National Infertility Awareness Week.
Oh.
So I don't think enough people know about this. I didn't until a few years ago.
Mhm.
I don't.
To be honest with you,
Nope.
I'm glad I know now.
Yeah.
You know,
How's that personally hit you?
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get in, and it's something that has personally hit a lot of people, and you know, we're not talking. People think, okay, well, you must be talking about heroin today. No, this is another. This is another. It's a happy topic, really. I think because it's something that helps people, and it's all about infertility and women that are trying to have children. And I'll just read it right out to you. It says National Infertility Awareness Week is a movement founded in 1989 by a company called Resolve. All too often, myths and misinformation appear in media stories or influence lawmakers and companies to enforce policies that create barriers for people who need help building their family. And still, people feel isolated when they struggle to build a family. So, Resolve wants to empower them to share their stories and find a community that cares. So today is National Infertility Awareness Wear Orange Day.
I got a
Sorry.
darker orange on.
No.
Yes. Well, you guys didn't
No,
know.
I didn't know. No.
And that is a good thing
Yeah.
because now you do. And I feel like I actually told you something that was valid. You know, so
Okay.
anyway, I can't personally talk about it. I'll lose it right here. So,
Okay.
which is, you know,
Well, it's okay.
but,
You're a man.
I don't
know,
know. I cry like a
So,
bitch, though,
you know,
man. I'm
it's-
telling you.
Well, you
I'm
know,
telling you.
how are people going to know why is it so important to people than to tell a personal story?
I can't. I won't. I won't make it through it.
Oh, okay.
I won't make it through it. I'll try in a little bit, you know, but
Okay.
so
Should we get him laughing or something?
no, I'm okay. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is something that really never happened years ago. Think about it. Did you hear a lot of this years ago? I'm talking about
No.
30, 40 years ago.
of course not, because nobody knew what to do about it.
Well, you know, I'm kind of wondering if all of the different drugs now that are out there for people to take because of various illnesses and things like that, if that has anything to do with.
Yeah, Paul, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. Why don't you get a doctor in here? We'll find out, you know, because
Yeah.
you're going to piss a lot of people off talking about the drugs they took. Maybe that has,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know,
well,
you know what I mean? I get it, but I think, you know, if you say, well, you know, they took
No, I'm not just.
amoxicillin, so therefore,
or is it a genetic thing they were born with? You know, so that
Yeah.
kind of thing. You know,
yeah, I think
So-
that's one of those things that you just
And now they're trying to figure out how to help with people that want to have a family, like Mike said. So they you know,
Yeah, and there are a lot of people out there that have not been able to, and because of a lot of different processes and stuff, and a lot of great success stories, you know, it's people are aware about this. Where you're correct, it wasn't something that 30, 40 years ago was brought. Well, 1989. And I don't want to sit here and talk like I'm some sort of
Until you get a doctor in here, you can't be an expert.
I'm not.
I know.
I'm not an expert.
No,
I
but
just know
he's,
how it
you know,
affected, how it affected.
how it affects people.
So,
Years ago, it's like if somebody couldn't have a baby, they were, you know, many years ago, it was like, you know,
Yeah, what's
look
wrong
at
with you? What's wrong with you?
yeah,
Yeah.
who knows what it is?
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, I don't. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you.
but now we got a
You know.
success path to resolve.
There
that,
you go.
to resolve that.
Right. So,
There you go.
and I think that's very important. And you know, of course, and I'll be honest with you. One word, Benny.
Yeah, I knew the story.
Chelsea,
I knew the story.
You know,
I
so
Yeah.
it's that's why I said you're going to piss a lot of people off. If you
No,
start
that's
talking-
no, I'm not. That's not the
Matt. You know, I mean, these are, and you know, I don't want to. You know, it's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, but I can tell you. Yeah. So anyway,
No. I mean, I'm not saying because the people took the
Scott, I am
vaccine.
not wearing. No, see, Scott. No. This is one of those comments that just kind of like, really, no. No, it's National Infertility Awareness Week, Mr.
Okay.
Fryer.
Oh, Scott Fryer. Okay.
We have no idea what COVID shots are going to do to us. We have no idea. 20 years down the road,
We won't know that for a long time.
exactly.
We'll be long gone, Paul.
Well, yeah, that's true.
By the
That's
time
true, but we don't know what that effect will have on certain things
Yeah.
that we do. You know, I mean,
There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, why'd you take off Figment?
I don't know. It's bugging me on my shoulder.
and this chicken is bothering
You
me.
know,
too. Let's take
yeah.
that- Get that chicken.
We're on
out
a
of here.
serious subject here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really serious now. I was feeling really giddy and happy before I walked in here. Now.
Well, yeah, but I'm not sharing any information that is
No,
bad.
it's a success. It's a success story for a lot of people.
you
I'm
know.
sure.
So
So-
I mean, it's
Success story for you for being a granddad. So there you go.
it is absolutely one of those things that it's just it's a long process. It's a very long process.
Very expensive process too.
I don't know anything about the cost personally.
My understanding is very, very expensive to go through that whole process.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything like that personally.
Yeah.
I just know that it's a very long process, and it was successful.
Mhm.
You know, and like I said, it's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about because it's my daughter. I'm talking about it could be a lady down the road that had a success story.
Yep.
You know, with this and this process. So
Okay.
it's, you know, I think it's, but you're right. I think it's one of those things that we don't know about, you know, amongst millions of things,
Right.
but we don't know because 30, 40 years ago, I mean, it was 1989,
Mm.
you know, when, you know, this organization called Resolve.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. Brenda and I were affected by it. We had Dylan, not as tough as many people, but it was difficult. So God bless you, dude.
Mhm.
Serious, you
Good.
know. And
Excellent.
And look at that young man now.
Nice.
Dylan, Mama said, "Shut you out, Fryer."
Mm.
You got to know. If
Yeah.
you know, you know.
Yeah.
So he's a great
Okay.
kid, and you know, Paul's like, "Yeah, let's move on."
Takes after his mother.
You hear that, Wayne? You hear that, Wayne? You hear that, Scott? Takes after it, the mother.
So anyway, Board of Selectmen.
Hold on. I'm not done.
Well, wait a minute.
I'm not done.
I don't want you to start blubbering and crying.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm sharing what I'm doing here.
All right,
I'm
okay.
sharing a page
Oh, okay.
that you can go to.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's infertilityawareness.org, and you'll be able to read up on it. I didn't want to not share this information today, especially. So if you see anybody wearing orange today on purpose, then you know why.
Okay.
So the color orange promotes a sense of wellness, emotional energy to be shared, compassion, passion, and warmth.
Gotcha.
Maybe we should have got a memo.
We
We're
should've.
we're on our shirt today.
Yeah.
I think I got one.
I don't know. I probably
So-
have it. Yeah, I got one.
I have one orange shirt. I made sure last night that I had it.
So
So
okay.
we can always, get into this, at another time. I think that, if we had or knew of personally somebody that knows, as far as a physician, knows about or an infertility doctor,
Yeah.
I would love to have, that doctor on and talk
Mhm.
and see. So anyway, okay, Wayne, you've been itching. Ready to go.
Board of Selectmen. So they had a meeting last night.
By the way, I'd like to introduce everybody. Wayne Wasilek Malin.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
I'm
So
sad it's
anyway,
not right.
yes,
That
I,
is not right.
I saw the Waslooks again at the firehouse because we had interesting fire training about investigating fires. We had an officer that investigates fires and stuff for arson and things like that, and murder or whatever like that. So it's kind of interesting how you
Oh, I think
You know,
so.
look for clues and things like that. And they also had a canine dog that sniffs for certain accelerants and things like that. So it was interesting. And yes, Kathy and Rich were there. Rich is the captain of the fire department. Of course, he's there. And he also sets up a lot of the training, things like that. So, there you go. We didn't have dinner. We talked about, we had the fire training. Then we talked about I got a little more educated about Board of Finance. Rob Hamill was there. I had a conversation with him. I still got questions. I still like to sit down with some of these people and just get a straight answer on some of this stuff.
Well,
Because
we are going to have
yeah,
Mr. Davis on again.
yeah, Mr. Davis is going to be on.
And also Alex Greslak,
Yeah.
the former Board of Finance chair, reached out and said he wanted to be part of a show one day, and
Yep.
he wants to have the ability to defend the $600,000.
Well, it wasn't just his decision.
No, I understand that, but he was the chairman
Yep.
of the committee at that time,
Right.
and the man doesn't even live in this community anymore.
No, but he owns the property still.
Okay.
So he's still got some, skin in the game, if you want to call it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I just know he doesn't live here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things to talk about, that affect, our neighbors and our residents and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you had set up having Ryan Aubin.
Yeah. That was a good conversation
That
yesterday.
was. That was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. He got his inform people about the programs that he's doing and what he's going to be impacted by with the reductions and stuff. And he's got some ideas and some solutions, which is what we need to do to try to work through things, instead of bitching and complaining, try to come up with some ideas and have some, what I call crucial conversations to try and have both sides talk out,
Right.
In a good conversation, healthy conversation to resolve things,
How much money was the cut? How much money was the cut from the full-time to half-time? It was like 30
Full time to
grand.
halftime.
Well,
full-time.
yeah, because that's what he went from full-time.
Yeah.
How much was
Well,
it?
no. He didn't do anything.
Not yet, but I'm saying, what is it, like 20,000?
No, this is all proposed.
20, 30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
It really
forget the
means
number.
nothing in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
If you ask me, Joe Average residents, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think it really moves the needle.
No, it really doesn't. But I mean, they cut 1,000 from us,
However,
right?
Well,
so
you
all
know-
of it adds up to a certain amount of
I know,
money that
and
they're
I
looking
thought
at,
about
right?
right. That's the point.
Right.
And I thought about that. If we wouldn't have put that 1,000 in there, they would have had an extra 1,000 to cut. So by us putting it in there, hey,
It wasn't there to begin with.
Wasn't there to begin with?
Yeah.
So what did they gain by it? Nothing. They just yeah. so
Well,
like they
it's
did
still that was the proposed numbers
Yeah.
from the town side, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the town had to cut. So they cut that. They cut some other things to meet a certain percentage, right? They had to get down to a certain percentage, just like the school had to cut to get down to a certain percentage,
Yeah.
right? And then they still proposed, and the school still got cut. The town is still getting cut. The capital improvements getting cut. A lot of committees, a lot of departments still had to take some cuts. The fire department took a cut. But they're all proposed, like we kept harping on yesterday, because we didn't want people to think this was, written in stone. So, and Ryan had an opportunity and to talk about the impacts on his program. So, and it was good. And he loves everybody. So he gives, I love everybody. So anyway.
Yeah, I that's exactly the point I was going to make too. Is that there's no where are you going to trim anything
Well,
from the
why did they pick the rec department to take a position and cut it in half? Why didn't they go to the town hall and cut a position and cut it in half? It's the same out of the same budget, right?
yeah.
So what the hell's the difference?
That's a good question. That is
So
a
I'm
very
making a point.
that is something
They're
that
just
you can
picking on
ask.
him.
You can ask the board of finance.
So we
but I that's
Right.
a really really good point.
So here's something I have not talked about,
Go ahead.
and I've been told not to really make a big deal about it.
Well, it
And
depends
the
on
Board of Finance, really couldn't do anything about it because it was a contractual agreement between a couple people in the town hall, and during this time when you're going to have a big increase. And I understand that the financial director is an important position in the town, but now we're going to give him an 8% increase this year with a mill rate of, we're looking at 1.5, 1.51, something like that, right? And we had to make a lot of cuts to meet that.
Yeah.
Now, some of the guys on the Board of Finance, the Republicans, a couple of Republicans, wanted 1.75. It was more realistic because we got to stop cutting, especially digging in the capital, because that's our future for the town, right?
Yeah.
And some of the other programs. And the other side, Democrats wanted to get it down lower, so they compromised at 1.5. So that's where we're sitting. But
I mean,
everybody,
do we really think that there is a political something there?
No.
You think so?
no.
Oh, I don't think so. So I don't think it's.
I knew where you were going with
I
that.
don't think it's a party
I-
thing. I think it's a people thing.
I
Yeah.
think it's a perspective.
I don't think
of-
this is politically motivated.
No,
I think it's a people thing.
It's a perspective of where we're seeing the town, and really the real issue here is we don't have any economic development to bring in more revenue. Right?
No.
We're stuck in the mud, spinning our wheels because we don't have any growth and we don't have any more revenue coming into town. So there's got to be hard choices to be made.
Yep.
And it impacts roads, it impacts the school, it impacts the town hall, impacts our ability to hire some positions that are in dire need in the town hall. It impacts youth services, so
I think that was really
know.
that was a good point you made there. Like, why didn't they go in and cut somewhere else?
Or just rather than have people work 40 hours, have 3 or 4 people work 35 hours
Mhm.
to make up the 30.
so some of it's
Yeah.
contracts, right? Some of it's
Well,
union
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So
some
you
of
got
it
to
is
deal
union,
with that.
but some of it is not.
Right.
So
But I truly think, no matter how good certain individual is doing, and nothing against the individual, but to make a decision at 8% increase at this time when, we're going to be cutting all kinds of other stuff out of the budget.
we knew
I-
it was coming.
Yeah. We knew it was coming from last year.
This isn't this administration's fault. This
Right.
administration, Paul and I talked about this a while ago, that this administration, whether it was going to be you or somebody else, was going to open up their arms and catch this
No,
big shit show.
It's
that's
a
flying.
mess.
Yeah. So it's like, now what do? You try to make the best of it, and the best of it is not good.
No.
You know, and it may, people don't remember, you know, for the most part,
Yeah.
they don't remember last year or the year before that, and you know, the flat budgets, you know,
Yeah.
where we're going to be taking in the, you know, right up the,
Yep.
you know, at some point, and
No, we've been talking about it since November when Scott Davis first came on
Yeah.
and talked about, we're going to have an increase.
we knew it was
Right.
going to happen.
So it's been talked
You know?
about. It's been out there. Shouldn't be a surprise when they go to the referendum and see what the numbers are and understand there's a $1.5 million, or go to the hearing. You know, people can talk about, you know, they're going to present. People are going to present their cases and stuff, and then people are going to be wanting to ask questions. You know, how did we get here? And I've been trying
Well, I
to
think
figure
we
out.
know how we got
Yeah.
here. We know. It's just we don't want to talk about it, and we want to point fingers.
No, it's not
We
about
wanna
pointing
point-
fingers. It's okay. We made a decision last year that we're paying for now. Okay,
Well,
so
but that's compounded on what's happening with the total global economy in the United States.
that plus what we haven't done as a town for economic development for the last, I don't know how many years, 10, 15 years now.
Well, you
We've
know,
been sitting here.
we talk about that, but the infrastructure probably should have been in freaking 10 years ago.
Thank you.
10 years
Yeah.
ago, it should have been in.
Should have been in 30 years ago.
Why was it not done?
As soon as Lisbon Landing, you know, as soon as we lost that project,
Yep.
somebody should have said, "Oh shit, we better get our ass moving." And guess what? Nobody said, "Oh shit, let's get our ass moving." So who do you talk to? Who do you blame for that? That goes back 40 years ago. That goes back a long time ago. It doesn't. This doesn't happen because of school check. This doesn't happen because
No.
of Todd Babbitt. This does not happen because of
Yeah.
Tina.
Yeah.
No, it
You
was
know, it-
old time money, good old boy club back many
How many
years.
times we talked about that?
I know. And
I mean, it's.
I don't want to have it done. So guess what? It didn't
I'm only
get done.
reacting because I'm like,
Yep.
my God, this is like conversations we've had a million times.
Yep. You guys have had them a million times long before I got here on the show, and I don't know.
This isn't even a Dana Bennett problem.
No.
No,
You know, this is something that's from a long time ago.
long time ago.
You know,
and because we don't have any money coming in, it's economic development's fault, and it's not.
I'm not saying it's the
I know
EDC's
you're
fault.
not.
I'm not. I'm just saying this
We don't
is
have
it's the only thing that's going to help resolve this tax issue. We can't sit here and say, okay, we're going to have a 1.5 mil increase this year, and next year we're not going to have one.
Yeah.
You know, to be truthfully, we're going to have one every year until we start getting some other revenue in the town.
Now,
Correct.
don't comment on this because I don't want you to get in, I don't want anybody to say, "Hey, well, Wayne."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna direct this to Paul and Paul
Yep.
only.
Yep.
How big does that sending town money look now? How big does that look?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
epic
Yeah.
compared.
No, you're right.
Had to recuse you. We know why.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you're like, but that money is huge right now. And we know why, because of, and I'm going to say it and I don't want him, because he didn't know I was going to mention this.
Okay.
You're looking at Sean McKenna and you're looking at Mary Beth Malin, the two there. I don't care who's bitching and moaning, $3.5 million is a lot of freaking money. And if we did not follow the business model that they're following, guess what? We wouldn't have that 3.5 million.
Yeah.
I like Paul Smith. Before, he was a real nice guy. The superintendent before.
Yeah.
What happened? This administration, the Board of Education, came in, picked up the ball. I mean, people are going to say, well, no, okay. Well, then tell me where else are we going to get $3.5 million? Right? So anyway, let's change the subject because I don't want you to, get in any kind of...
Getting a doghouse at home?
No. I don't
Oh.
want you to go downtown
Mm-hmm.
and have somebody say something. Well, Malin said, on the show. And really, you didn't.
No,
Had
well,
nothing to do
I'm not
with
going
it.
to disagree with what you're saying.
Right.
But I've been saying all along is that I think some of the tuition students that's been brought back because of the field project, and I'd like to know what the difference is before we had the field and now after, and how much more.
3.5 million.
Well,
maybe not
the
at
school, the field costs 3.5 million, but we're getting more revenue
The
in.
field was 8. No, 4.5.
I think 4.5. I think you're right.
No, it was.
Well, that was with
3.5.
contingency. So really, it was
3.8
like
with
3.7.
contingencies.
Okay. All right.
3.5. You're talking to me now. Who do I live with?
Yeah.
3.5 million.
All right, this is your
Right.
neck.
Yeah, it's my
This
neck.
your
It
neck.
is.
All right. So
But I heard this discussion for 2 years now about how much it's going to cost and how they had to justify it and all that stuff. And they have brought in more tuition students. They have brought in more revenue.
Yep.
They're paying 10% of their budget back to the town because of the revenue and the projected revenue next year. So, I and the thing is there's other projects. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Griswold Middle School playground. It's a mess. And that's one of the priorities in capital that they're looking to have done too. So the kids in the middle school have a playground. So there is a toddler playground being put up next to the elementary school right now, but that's all paid for TVCCA's grants and stuff like that. So we talked about that with Ryan the other day too. So
yeah, he had big plans for his. He was going to do a big thing with for kids at his rec area down there.
Skate park.
Yeah, the skate park. If you remember, they was going to tear the skate park down, and they were going to. The skate park's still there.
So really, it's just where we're sitting at. It we have to move forward with economic development so we can minimize the impact.
But I'm going to go back to something that Scott Davis said: is where do we trim fat from?
Mm-hmm.
Paul, you guys, the public health and safety, asked for $1,000. Well, it got cut, but it was never in the budget to begin with.
No.
So
they really didn't cut anything.
Right.
But it was in the proposed budget. But you're right. That got cut, but it didn't really hurt anything or anybody.
Exactly.
Plus, they cut 35 or 2,500 from.
It hurt Paul's feelings. That's all it did.
no, not really. Not really. I mean, it was a shot in the dark. So we tried to do it.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. I mean, there's a lot of people that probably put a lot of effort into coming up with reasons why they needed the money to put a line item in the budget. They spent a lot of time probably doing that, and then all of a sudden, with the swipe up an eraser, it's gone. So so you look at it next year and you say, "What the frick did I do that for? This is going to take the eraser and erase it out anyway." So
next year, ask for $5,000.
Yeah, that's what.
Then they'll say, "Well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 25."
Nah, that doesn't happen. They could have said we'll give you 500, but they didn't do that. So
well, you don't know. Maybe next year it'll be different.
So here's the thing, right? Are we upset with 1,000? No, because where else are they going to take the 1,000 from? Take it away from youth services, take it away from school, take it away from, what we need for roads or whatever. No, so it's
because they're afraid to take it away from places that are going to hurt somebody.
Oh, you mean like taking, like a full-time job away from a person and making part-time?
That's what they do in friggin' business, man. If they have an open, guess what? If they have an open position, guess what? It doesn't get filled.
Here.
How many times does that
no
happen?
pun intended.
That's happened.
It doesn't get filled.
No.
Well, we want to keep filling this position. I think, I don't know. You know what? I feel that it wasn't given enough time, this position to go, before it. Because Phil's only been able to really kind of sink his teeth in, as the second rec director for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's already started new programs. You have to let those grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he already talked about, he can forego his new van and, there's an option there, right? So it was pretty much a wash, forego the van and keep Phil on his full time.
I thought the old senior center van was...
That's broke. It's unfixable.
It's unfixable?
Well, it's fixable, but it's going to cost a lot of money. So it was like, it wasn't an option. No.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what about you folks we always like your feedback and your input, but unless there are really no humans here today.
Well,
Just-
probably don't know that we're doing a show on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's, because
They're just bots
This
out
is our
there,
time and a
making it
half
look like-
day.
yeah, time and a half day.
I don't know. It's
But nobody. I haven't seen one comment from anybody. And this is and that worries me.
Yeah, silence in this case is not golden.
Yeah, and the reason why, and
I think people probably might be afraid to say something because
why?
Well, if somebody says they should cut somebody there, they're going to be. What are you saying that for?
Then you get what you get.
So here's the problem.
I'm a
If we don't
taxpayer just like you.
if we don't talk about stuff and nobody knows about anything and everybody's la 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 la, everything's rosy and everything's great, and then they get to the referendum and what the hell?
Mhm.
It's like you got to be aware of what's going on. That's like in the last 8 months.
I didn't know there was a referendum.
Yeah, 8 months.
Pew pew pew.
I've been
pew,
digging
pew.
into this stuff and I'm asking questions. I just want to have some answers. We're all taxpayers. We just want to have some answers. What are the resolutions? There's a lot of people out here in town, a lot of smart people that might have an idea or something to help out the problems. But
Well, the problem is that a lot of the younger people leave Griswold, Jewett City, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up in the morning, go to work.
that was me.
They don't care what's going on.
It's
in
me
town.
now.
They don't care what's going on in town.
Well, I do care what's going
You
on.
care,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people who don't. They got their own little thing they're doing. They have no freaking clue what's going on.
Correct.
That's what the problem.
You are
is.
correct.
Um,
And you can't. There's no way you're going to get 100% buy-in anywhere in
No.
any town.
No.
But you do need more than 7%.
well, that's true.
And when you're only getting 7% coming
Go,
to the polls,
not only are they
Well,
going to
what
work,
about-
they're coming home. They got to raise their kids. They're going to go to after school things or whatever with the kids or whatever.
Right.
So it's
but
more
and more things are available online.
Yeah.
So there's less of an excuse to really say, well, I didn't know about it.
Well,
It's like, that's just
once a
bull
service
pucky.
gets cut,
Yeah,
once a
there's-
service gets cut at the rec center or at the school, and your kid can't go, you're going to say, "What the hell happened? What's going on here?"
Yep.
Then they're going to wake up, but by then it's too late.
What about guns? You talk about guns, people come out.
Oh yeah, they come
Yeah.
out, bro.
But you talk about the rec center and and
Don't
and
forget
kids and I know that was
forget
a
that.
hot mess, wasn't that?
Was,
Well,
No. Talk about the rec center or things that are going to help, say, middle class Jewett City Griswold that has an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old that takes part in these programs. That's when you're going to start hearing for people if something
Yeah.
like that gets cut,
Cut.
and they didn't say anything and they needed that vote, to keep it going.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Well, I didn't know about it."
That's true. You're absolutely right.
well,
And even right now, I mean,
if you're
I
on Facebook,
really wish there was somebody out there that said, "You know what? I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I've got an idea.
so
You got to talk about it."
Yeah.
It's like what we do here at SNSN. 9 ideas out of 10 that are good don't come from me.
comes from there, comes from
It comes from here, right? These folks here.
Yeah.
Comes from Paul, comes from you, comes from Kathy, comes from Rich.
Yeah.
Jim Barney, I mean, he influences. Josie on the street, whoever Josie may be, or Freddie or whatever. That's when it happens. The same thing with this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's got to be some way that they can work 30,000.
Apparently we must be offline.
yeah,
because
they ought
nobody's
to just turn off the talk and the view, and then just if you really want to know what's going on, watch
You know why
this.
people watch The View? Because it doesn't really affect them.
No, it doesn't,
And it doesn't threaten them. And you can watch it and go, huh, whoa.
Yeah,
And it doesn't really have anything to
Nope.
do with their living situation.
No,
It doesn't.
no.
People won't watch the news
It's the
anymore
human
because
condition.
it's not news.
Yeah, it's not. It's just somebody's agenda and
It's an opinion.
reality show.
Yeah. Even NPR. Even NPR is not even news anymore.
Somebody just quit their NPR. I remember because it was too left wing or some goddamn thing. Yeah, some newscasters just.
Yeah.
I read that.
Yeah. The only news source that I've ever found to be right down the middle, two of them, and is Reuters, and people are going to laugh, but Al Jazeera,
Yeah, but see, that's a lot of people don't listen to that,
or read it.
and not even
Al Jazeera. I mean, they're based in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, even some people can't even get it.
You go to aljazeera.com.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people watch TV.
What I'm talking about as far as journalism is concerned,
Yeah.
I hate
and
that.
being right down the middle.
Yeah.
And not playing
Yeah.
favorites on either side, right? And of course, you got a lot of people in America going, "Well, Al Jazeera, it's Iranian or Iraqi or whatever." No, I mean, yes, but
Yeah.
it's honest journalism.
I mean, I think a lot of people are aware of what's going on, but they can't do anything about it.
What's that?
They can't do nothing about it. What's going on in the country today? They know they can't do nothing about
Right,
it.
and because there's no real threat to them, so they'll watch it or they'll listen to it.
Well, you know, when I watch it, I just get ticked off at some of the things.
Yeah.
I mean,
But see, this right here, what we're talking about, you can make a difference.
here you can because you're talking local. You're
Right.
absolutely right. But nationally, you know, what did they just spend? $75 billion for this package they just put together?
For Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan,
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of
some other
money.
stuff.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know,
You're right.
and then they just spent what, $50 billion to pay off student debt. I mean, where's this money come from? It's not.
You?
It's not going to impact me.
Me,
No, it's not going to.
Wayne.
It's not going
Eventually.
to impact me, and it's not going to impact Wayne because we'll be dead. It's going to impact you. It's going to impact your kids. It's going to impact their kids because they're going to end up paying. Somebody's got to pay that money back.
Who are we getting the money from? That's what
Why
worries
they
me.
just print it?
Yeah, well, it makes the
Just print
dollar more,
Yeah, just
less
print it.
valuable.
Have you been to a restaurant lately?
Let me ask the Wasseliks. Have we been to a restaurant lately?
And
Yes.
and I'm not saying anything about any particular restaurant whatsoever, because I get it. You got to raise prices. But have you seen the prices in a restaurant lately?
They're up there.
Yeah. Where do you think that came from?
Oh, they're gouging.
Well, where do you think that came from? Where did it start?
COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden things went up like 40%.
Yeah.
And stayed. And stayed
Oh, they
there.
don't come down.
Huh?
It didn't come
I
down.
know. Look at gas went up. Remember gas when it would go up a penny?
Yeah.
Drop a penny, up 2 cents, down 2 cents, stuff like that. It would gradually move up over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Now it jumps like 30 cents a day.
They went up 30 cents.
It did drop. When I bought it, when I filled up Friday, it was $3.73 in Lisbon, and now yesterday I filled up it was $3.63. But it's still up there.
Still up there.
Yeah.
It's still up there. But like you say, it's fluctuating. And some of that is
Price
based
of barrel
on
of oil.
oil production, what we're doing here, what we're buying overseas, and all that stuff. And
Whose fault is that?
yeah, who is it? Whose fault is it, Paul?
Think about what happened when the first guy got in here. What did he do?
First guy, what are we talking about? We're talking about Trump?
4 years ago. 4 years ago. What was the first thing that got cut? The pipeline.
Pipeline.
You're talking about Biden. Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing he
I
did was
was-
cut
But
the
it-
pipeline.
But right, but we're just talking
Yeah.
fact here. That's it.
Yeah.
Paul's just
That's
spitting facts.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. First thing he did.
Boom, bye to the pipeline.
And we were supposed to be not dependent on foreign countries for our oil.
Yep.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
Now, but it's got to be money.
Yeah.
There's money involved.
because we're buying it from Russia.
Oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. The money for oil. They're getting money somehow. These politicians are making money as a result of it. You saw where the politician out there in what the hell is it? One of the states, or a Democrat politician.
One of the states.
One of those
I can't
49 other states.
No, I can't think of what state it was. It's a Democrat. She got arrested for stealing money from her mother-in-law.
Oh,
She got arrested. So they're crooks. I mean, come on.
Lori hey Lori, and thank you for commenting. She says, okay, here's my thoughts. Development is key, so the infrastructure project is most important right now.
Yep.
Yes, I agree.
Yep. No argument here.
And just so you know, when I spit my view on stuff, it's just a view. It doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. It's for conversation only.
Right.
And based on my new role, that would be Borough Princess.
No, Queen.
Queen.
Queen. Yeah, it's Queen.
80% of resident concerns I hear are roads related.
Yep.
So I'd suggest foregoing any more projects that incur more debt and put more into roads as the debt service decreases.
Yeah. The one good thing about the borough is a lot of the main roads are state highways. You know, you got Route 12, you got 138. You know, so a lot of the main roads, even coming through town, is a state
Yeah.
and one road. So that's a good thing. But of course, there are a lot of
Well,
state.
they're doing a lot of side roads, and they're doing some side road repairs right now. They got
Yeah.
Palmer Avenue, you got Faust, you got Lennox that they're working on right now. So
You know, and you know, we talk about infrastructure. I don't
Not
know,
Latham.
no, but
yeah,
you know,
not Latham or Lake Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also need to think. I don't know what kind of infrastructure is out on 138. I don't know what's down 138. Is there any kind of sewers? Is there infrastructure down 138?
I couldn't tell you. Todd
138?
Babbitt would probably know.
138.
Well, yeah, I would think so.
I don't
because
know.
There's a lot of stuff built out.
Yeah, there's
I
lots
don't
of-
know, but is
I
there
don't
any-
think that's an issue.
I don't know if there's
No.
any infrastructure out there.
No, you're talking about water and sewer and stuff like that.
I mean, there seems to be some spots out there that.
But I still think 164 is
I'm
where
sure
need
if you
to go.
walked
Well,
in and
that-
talked to Mario or Todd, they could tell you.
I know, but I'm just
But-
saying. Once we get through all of this,
Yep.
I mean, do we think about
Well,
201 again?
201, yeah.
And then we think about what's on 201. Is there land on 201 that we can use?
There's a couple properties that were,
Is it
cleared
just-
out several years ago and it's just sitting there right now. But and there's some other property along there, but
So those
not a lot,
those are-
but
those
there's
are-
some.
Those are the things that need to be thought out where we're going to go in the future. You know?
Yeah.
So
Which is something we should have done 40 years ago.
So
Exactly.
on Lori's point, I understand the importance of roads, but I also understand we got to watch what we do with our capital projects too, because that's the future of our town. If you start looking at when I went over that with Jim a couple of weeks ago, there's some projects in there that they're looking down the road so we don't have to pay millions of dollars for fire trucks,
there.
town trucks,
All spitting up.
the game thing.
things like that. So that has to keep marching along. Otherwise, we're going to have the bill to pay, just like the field. Field's going to have to get resurfaced in 10 to 12 years. That was already talked about when they put it in.
And I
So
won't be
it's
around
gonna-
to bitch.
Huh?
I won't be around to bitch.
Well, in
So
any
he's getting all he can right now.
in any case, there was a plan to put money in capital so that when
Of course.
the piper came, time to pay, it would
Well,
be sitting there.
That's why you
ready
put money
for
in
it.
the bank.
Right.
That's why you save money
Yeah.
for future repairs that you have to do. Right.
Right.
So when the time comes that you got to put a new roof on your house, you go to your bank account, you take it out.
Right.
I mean, that's the way you probably should do it, But
Right. So, I understand what Lori's saying about the roads and everything like that. And we've been probably pushing that back because we've been cutting the budgets on that
well,
for years. But, sometimes maybe you just need to sit there and say, I know they were trying to tweak the budget down to 1.25 mil to 1.5 mil. We're sitting at 1.5 now. And some people are thinking, I think we need to have more, 1.7, 1.75. Bite the bullet so we can make up on some of these projects that are sitting there like
Right,
roads
but-
and things like
But
that.
it's still, people want all of these services, right? And,
Right.
and I'm not saying that they're wrong, but you just said it, bite the bullet. The money has to come from somewhere.
Right.
We can only rob Peter to pay Paul so many years before that comes back and say,
Yeah. So 1.5 mil, we got down to that because we had to borrow another $150,000 from the general fund, which I'm being told we got to pay the 600,000.
which is why I believe we should add an increase the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Albeit maybe not huge, but something to cover because
Yeah. I think Scott's rethinking 150,000. Some people are because we're going to be starting out with 150,000 in the hole next year.
and this is why it's important that we have Alexander Greslak. Alex is going to come on.
Yep.
Soon to explain last year's budget and how we got to this year. So
why don't we take the opposite approach? Why don't we get out there and start pushing to say we're going to push our mill rate up to 2, this is the reason why we're going to do it, because we're going to fix this, we're going to fix that, and we're going to fix this. It's time to bite the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But no, what are we doing? We're backpedaling.
Putting a Band-Aid on it.
Correct.
Why? So were they afraid that the referendum won't pass because
Well,
of,
then
of
you
the
know
amount
what?
of money?
Then guess what?
The
You
referendum.
ain't getting a road.
The
You
referendum.
got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Your referendum probably would pass if people took the time to explain to everybody why the increase and what's going to happen as a result of going up another 0.5.
But they do. That information is out there. The people don't listen.
But
Listen, Linda. They don't.
everybody's afraid 1.5 ain't going to pass. Ain't 1.5
So
going to pass. They cut.
So the budget meeting was, I believe, it was streamed last week
Yes, it was.
when they made the cut. So people should be taking the time, and it was a long meeting. It was like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, it was long.
A lot of discussion, a lot of cuts, and people proposed. This is all proposed stuff, but
Yeah.
people need to understand why this is happening. And if we go up higher, if people go to the hearing and they want this and they want that, then they got to understand that it's going to go above 1.5 mil. It's going to cost more.
What's my impact from 1.5 to 2? Is it?
This is kind of why I wonder.
Yeah. What is
Yes.
it? What's my impact? What is it?
Depends on your property.
An extra $100 or $200, $1,000? What's the difference?
I don't know. Could be $75 for the year.
So what the hell?
Depends on your property.
But $75 a year, you wouldn't want to pay to have a freaking road fixed? If it's going to cost me $75?
If you're on a fixed budget like you have been, well, some people have been on a fixed budget for 15, 20 years and they're just barely paying their mortgage. $75
A lot.
is a lot.
But the $75 they're paying somebody else. I mean, come on, gas just went up. So they got to pay 70. I mean,
The electric rates are
No,
going
but I
up.
think I know what he's talking about. Is like, let's say you are working that tight on a budget, right? And your taxes go up $75.
Right.
A month or a year?
A
You're
year.
talking about okay.
$75 to $100 a year.
Let's say your taxes go up $20 a month.
Yeah.
So let's say that happens, right? But let's say that Fred and Ethel don't have money a lot. They can't afford that, and they're working that close on their budget. There are so many seniors that are, they're grinding just to make it. So you
Yeah.
take those $20, right? And it's like, well, now the most important of things, they can't to them, we can't buy bubble gum for the grandkids because of that extra $20. It may sound stupid. It probably does.
well,
But think about it. There are things they're going to have to cut from their budget. And here's the other thing. If you're on road A and road Q is over here,
Yeah.
and that's the one they're going to work on,
Yeah.
you don't give a shit because you don't live there.
yeah, but
You can sit here and say, oh, I care.
we hear a lot about fixed income. 30 years ago, you had people who retired that were lucky if they got $100 a month, right? Or $200. They got $400 from Social
Yeah.
Security. Think about it. Now the people that are retiring have either had a 401k or actually had a retirement plan.
And a lot of it goes to taxes anyway.
You still have a retirement plan. You still have 401k. You still have Social
Yep.
Security. I would think 30 years ago, if you raised it would be different because those people did not have the money that a lot of retirees today are getting.
Well, it depends on, there's a lot more companies out there with pension plans back then.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Then
those are the people that are
today,
retiring
Now they're basing everything on 401ks now because they're getting rid of, we talked a little bit about this last night with the Wasseliks and Mr. Hamill about, where people are at today with 401ks and pensions are going away and
That's
how
true.
are pensions affecting companies. With a lack of pensions, they're having a hard time keeping employees,
But
but-
I think what we're just saying, but there were a lot of the
Yep.
people who were retiring
Yep.
had a pension. The 401k people are probably people, in their late 50s now?
I got it. 65.
Yeah. So they're really not retired yet. Okay.
Yeah. So I started my 401k in the late 80s. That's when
Yeah,
they
but
started
but
that,
that was
stuff,
just
right?
an addition to
Yeah.
retirement.
Right.
Correct. So I don't think the people that are complaining about, I mean, there are some people I understand that probably never worked for a company that got a retirement.
I'm saying you got people in their 70s and their 80s, like yourself, right? But you had a pension, you have all that stuff. Some people don't. Some people didn't have. All they got is Social Security.
Yep.
That's all they got, and maybe
But-
some savings or whatever.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people today, I would be curious to see how many people have some kind of retirement versus how many people who don't, in today's retirement area.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I would think it's more towards people who had a retirement versus those who didn't, because things changed over the years.
Yeah.
So
It's a hard decision to make, but
yeah,
if you're going, we have to pay back 600,000. That's what I'm being told. I have a hard time understanding it because we're at the upper limit. We set a limit at 10% low, 19% high, and we have to have a certain amount of money in the fund to operate the town in an emergency, right? For 3 months. That's what it was explained to me. So,
well, it's just like yourself.
right. So if we have a low limit of 10%, that would tell me, okay, so that is the minimum we have to run the town and the school, because the school is part of the budget, for 3 months. So anything above that, we should be okay.
Yep.
Right? I'm being told, no, we're still going to have a $600,000 hold. Now, if we have to pay it back, when they made the decision last year of putting out a $0 million increase and take the 600,000 out, they had to know this year we're going to have 600,000 to pay back into the general fund.
I'm not sure that was communicated last year.
No, so Alex is sitting here saying the intention was not to do that. That's what he's going to be talking on the
'Cause
show
it
with
never
Mike.
was mentioned last year.
Right.
I think that whole 600,000 thing was to kind of ease the burden of the field decision, so people would say, okay, yeah, we're not going to be impacted much by the field thing, and that's why I think that 600,000, and that made a lot of people say, oh, okay, it's
So
not gonna
everybody
be-
talks about the field thing. I'm going to tell you something, that the senior center cost just as much, but
Well,
that
I
was
get-
already in the budget from the year before.
Oh, I know that,
Right.
and I think
So
the senior center took a big hit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pissed off a lot of people. And I think what happened was you had a generation for the senior center, and you had a different generation for the field. The people from the senior center got whacked big time. They took a big hit because everybody was bitching about the senior center, by this, it's costing this much. So now it turns around, next generation saying they want the field. So these people over here said, okay, you want to screw me? They went out and voted. If you notice, I would be willing to bet that the people voted against the field were a lot of the senior citizens.
field
Yeah.
just barely passed.
Just barely passed. And I think it was the generational thing that made it that close.
Well, I think a lot of it is a lot of people didn't even really show up to vote for the field, and a lot of people assumed it was going to pass because there's a lot of
Yeah.
but it barely passed.
Yeah.
And now we're getting, as soon as that thing passed, a lot of students from other schools started to come back that had left Griswold, started to come back and all that stuff. And now we're attracting a lot more tuition students to come back to the town. But I'm just saying, don't forget about, when you vote for something, whether the senior center or the field or things like that, and I'm not saying none of this stuff had to happen. We had to have improvements in the town. We had to have a new senior center building. We had to have a new field. And there's going to be things down the road that we have to have. We're going to need a new fire truck in Griswold. We're going to need a new vehicle in the town garage. We're looking to get a quote for the wash pit so we can extend the life of our emergency vehicles and our town garage vehicles, which was talked about during the meeting. There's things that have to happen.
Oh yeah.
There's things that we have to spend money on.
And why was that cut? Why was the wash basin thing cut?
Because they had to get money somewhere.
There you go. So when you look at stuff where they cut these items, do they really investigate to say what's going to be the impact if I do this?
No.
They don't. It's just there's $3,000, there's $50,000.
Well,
Gone.
but the thing is all these cuts that were made last week
Yeah.
are not written in stone. It's all proposed.
Try and put them back.
Right.
Lori just says, I don't believe that is correct, that the 600K needs to be paid back into surplus. It's like taking out of your savings account. That is a good question, though, to ask at the town meeting on the 30th.
So I agree with Lori. I've been asking the question, and I've been getting both sides of it. Like Alex says, the intent was not. Well, I'm reading the Facebook page and all that stuff, was not to put it back, and I'm hearing that we have to put it back. So I would like to get a straight answer. What is the answer? What does the 10% minimum mean? What's the 19% maximum mean? And where do we fall? And if we don't have to pay the 600,000 back, then that is 0.66 mil or somewhere around there that can be erased from the mill rate for the taxpayer. And we can add some things back that need to be done, like roads, the youth center stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
because I remember, because he was in here last year. I remember when it was 2 years ago when he came in, and he never mentioned putting that $600,000 back.
Yeah,
it was never on the table.
I mean, this is not an attack on anybody. This is just a question
but it's a whole
that we just want to understand is what
group
did,
now.
when we made the decision for the 600,000 last year, what was the intent?
Well, then that's why we need to get the people in here that did that,
Yeah.
Or decided those actions, to talk to them and ask them why. We can sit here and talk until we're part of the 3-man Blue Man group.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not gonna matter.
Right.
I'm
not.
No. So here's something right here, guys. This Saturday, April 27th.
Yep.
It is the DEA National Drug Take Back Day. Grizzled Pride, is part of this every single year.
Yep.
Grizzled total pounds, get this, since 2015, and we've been a part, they've been a part of us, I should say, Grizzled Pride, and us a part of them as far as community partners are concerned since 2015. So that's like 9. Oh my God, 9 years.
Yeah, long time.
2,500 pounds.
Wow.
2,500 pounds of unwanted or unused or expired medications that have been collected. Now, this also is always been done at Town Hall. The drug take back day. Why are you looking at it like that?
I think it was done at the town garage recently too. It's going to be done at the town garage.
This is the national one.
National one?
Yeah.
Is it the town garage this year?
I think
it is not.
I thought it was at the town garage this year.
It is not. It's at the Grizzled Senior Center.
Oh, okay.
Well, don't forget the cleanup thing is going on.
Well, we got the Earth Day cleanup thing Saturday too.
Yeah. So that's probably
that's hand in hand with that. So
Yeah, definitely
Right, and it's right. But this is there are drug take back days.
Yep.
That Grizzled Pride, goes ahead and they're a part of. But then there's the national ones. These are actual all over the country.
Yep.
There's 2 of them they do every single year. This one and one around Labor Day.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's from 10 to 2. And what you do is you just take whatever unwanted, expired,
Yep.
whatever medications you have that you don't use or whatever, bring them down to the senior center.
Yeah, because you never flush them down the toilet.
Don't ever flush them down the toilet or throw them in the trash or anything like that. They take even like over the counter stuff too.
I've taken stuff down there.
Like stuff like like Sudafed, that you've had AP in your box or
yeah, he took that big tub of Viagra back. That's right.
It does go bad.
God, no wonder the pickerel have been getting huge. Look at the size of that. The blood flow's amazing. Anyway, I have this. I have the DEA National Drug Take Back Day flyer on the screen right now. Grizzled Pride. You can get some more information from them at grizzledpride.org. And again, Grizzled Senior Center, 220 Taylor Hill Road in Griswold. Yeah. One thing here's what they do not accept: sharps and liquids.
Yes, there's special, disposable areas for those. Yeah.
Yeah. So keep them safe, clean them out, take them back.
Yeah.
So
We don't need
that's the
people
idea.
reaching into plastic bags and getting poked by needles and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're out of here.
Okay.
Guys, thank
Okay,
you very much.
thank you very much.
We will see you tomorrow. No Psychic Thursday.
No?
No, Lisa is on assignment.
Oh, so now I got to set something up. Or who do you got? Somebody?
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So thanks, guys, for joining in. We went a little bit late, but that's okay. We started a little bit late. And Paul, thanks for coming in last minute, because Paul's usually here on Wednesday, but we don't usually do a Wednesday show live, that is, anymore because of other circumstances.
Right.
And he get well, and he's not feeling it.
Yeah.
So anyway,